Hey everybody, real quick, I wanted to show you some details that are starting with some of the work that's been that started by a couple of students. So right now in Fusion, what you'll see here is a file started by a student with some details using some really cool piping techniques. I like those. Some nice little wall details. Turns out pretty nice. There's some issue popping up with how things are attaching to walls. I just noticed this little issue right here. These parts just are not attached to the wall, and that's going to cause an issue when we slice the files. Also, one other one right here. So he added some piping again, exhaust pipes. Those look great. They're hollow though, and I'm going to show you what happens when you have such small detail added to a 3D print. So the detail looks beautiful, but how it plays out when it's 3D printed is very different. So let's just take a look. Switch windows. Okay. So here's the file. All right. And you can recognize some of the detail. But guess what? Let's slice it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to slice it with my CR10 with the nozzle I have installed. I put my 0.6 nozzle on it. All right. And I'm going to put it at the highest resolution I can get, most detail. Who cares about infill? And we do need some support. If you don't know what support is, I'll show you. And let's slice it. And let's get a preview. Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at the sliced version and the model. So the model has some nice detail right here. As you can see, this part right here is great. And he spent some time putting in some piping right down there. And when you look at it as how it's going to print, it's all gone. That also goes for all of that detail right here you spent time on. If it's getting too thin, it is not going to print. So you have to engineer this to utilize the printer. All right, it's not about just drawing something small and fancy. Same thing here. Okay, while this looks great, I think that this piping down here came out great. Over here, you see that it turns into nothing. It would probably just be a 3D printed mess. So I think we need to rethink that detail. You have some nice little detail down here with the chamfered edge. I like that. But I think you might need to make it a little bit more drastic, because when you look at it, it's actually just writing 2 layers of the 3D print. Okay. And as for all that detail over here, I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out. I mean, I could try and 3D print it and see how it does, but let's just look at the model. So you added these little buttons up on top. You added some piping. When we slice it, the piping goes away. All right, so stuff is too small. If it looks very small on it, please start thinking about increasing the size. That should give you some direction to head into. And I like what has been started. I want to see it a little bit more. Okay, I think that this is great. Maybe more piping, more detail, more chamfered edges, thicker parts, thicker pipes. That's going to make a big difference. All right, so let's try to think about that as a way to make sure that we're designing something that is going to 3D print effectively. All right, try that out.